If you've been paying attention to things lately, gold and silver prices have exploded, especially per ounce, and also the cost of the coins and the silver and gold bars. And people have asked me, Perry, we've heard you teach about this for 15 to 20 years. What was coming? Is this the indication of a U.S. Fiat currency collapse? Because if the dollar declines, gold and silver often goes up in value. So what we're going to do is going to share some things with you. I think it would be good for me to go back to the late 1990s. This would have been before the famous Y2K, year 2000 event. And there was a woman that lived in Cleveland, Tennessee that was one of my prayer partners named Emmy Piper or Myrtle Piper. And she prayed a lot, especially at night. And she came to me and she said, Perry, she said, the Lord actually spoke to me and said that gold was going to go over $1,000 an ounce. And I feel like that I want to buy some, and I think that you should too. Well, we didn't have any kind of money just laying around to buy gold. So I told Pam, I said, I believe the woman is right, and I think we need to do something. So we went and somehow, Pam can tell you more about this than me, we got something dealing with retirement. It wasn't a retirement fund, but it was beginning to be set aside for retirement, and we pulled that out of the bank, and we went and bought 1 ounce gold Eagle coins, and I want them to show you a picture of a 1 ounce gold American Eagle coin at $252. That's what we paid for several of those coins. And so I went to one of my very dear friends in town, I'll not name him, and he was a jeweler at the time, and I said, you need to listen to this woman because gold is going to go up and these coins are going to have great value. He said they will never go over $400 an ounce. It's just not going to happen. Well, that same man today buys and sells that same coin for $4,250 each. Now, did you hear what I just said? Years later, this was 1999 when this first occurred. Now we're coming into 2026. That $252 coin is valued at $4,250. Now, I began to tell my ministry partners when this began to go up that I'm not a person to tell you what to invest in. I don't tell you to go with stocks. I don't tell you to go with real estate. That's not my lane. I know what my wife and I may do personally, but I never tell people to do what we do based on what we're doing because they may have a different direction that the Lord may lead them in. So I began to tell some of my dear friends, I would go ahead and buy some silver and gold coins, the smaller stuff, if you could afford it. And back in the time when I told them that, it was affordable. Well, now many of them come to our conference and says, Perry, I still remember 20 some years ago. I'm so thankful that I heeded that little bit of advice that you privately gave me. Now, silver in 1999 was $5.21 an ounce. Now, if you look at a 1 ounce silver dollar, Daniel put up a picture of a 1 ounce walking Liberty silver dollar. Its face value is $1. It's actually spendable. You could go into a store and they would have to take that, but they would only give you $1. So it's not the $1 value that's significant. It is the silver content in that 1 ounce silver eagle that is valuable. Years ago, the silver rounds, again, we're going back to the 90s, early 2000s, silver rounds, which is a round of 1 ounce silver, doesn't necessarily have monetary value as far as U.S. government is concerned, but a 1 ounce round was costing $5 to $6 per round. The Silver Eagle coin, I'm trying to talk fast here, was going for about $8 an ounce. So again, a $1 face value if you laid it down to purchase something, but $8 in silver value. Now today, listen to this, silver has been on a tear because the same silver has gone from $5 to $6 an ounce to $60 an ounce. And each of those coins that again, I had some that I purchased years ago for $5 to $6 are now going for $65 an ounce. In fact, for you that came to our fall festival in the month of October, under the tent, you saw where I had sold some of our silver coins, our Morgan silver dollars, and kind of just selling some of our collection off, not a lot of it, but some of it. And you better be thankful you got those because you made a profit. You got them for $40 and you've made probably a $25 per coin profit on those, okay? Now, the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I've collected stamps, coins, and ball cards since I was very young. And my brother and I, he's in there right now working on some personal things for me and him together. And so we like to collect stuff. We are just collectors of things. And so what I want to tell you is, why do people go with metals? Why do they go with gold or brass or silver or things of that nature? And here's the reason why. Because biblically speaking, Genesis chapter 13, verse 2, it says, Abraham was rich in gold and silver and cattle and, of course, in land. So the gold and silver value goes back to the time of bartering among the patriarchs in the Old Testament. The book of Job, for example, tells us that when Job's captivity was turned, God blessed him and allowed all of his family to bring an earring of gold, Job chapter 42 and verse 11. We know that the Israelites borrowed the gold and the gemstones from the Egyptians that later financed the building of the tabernacle in the wilderness. That's in Exodus chapter 12, verse 35. And we also know that Jesus was given as an infant gold, frankincense, and myrrh, which later would help him and Mary and Joseph to go and live in Egypt for about 2 years until Herod, who sought to kill him, died. And that's all, of course, in the Bible. So as the prices go up, people have asked me, they said, Perry, you know quite, even in town, they say, you know quite a bit about this stuff because, you know, you've been one of those collectors since a kid. What is going on worldwide or in the United States with the values of these metals going up the way they have? Now, I'm going to give you a list that specialists who deal entirely with this subject have said. Number one is economic uncertainty. When there is what we call fiat currency economic uncertainty, normally silver and gold will go up per ounce, and etc. Number two is a weaker U.S. dollar. When the U.S. dollar becomes weaker, there tends to be a rise, especially on overseas markets, of gold and silver. Number three is interest rates that begin to go down. That means that the value of bonds, because if you have bonds, you get paid by the interest on the bond, that begins to go down. And so people begin to turn away sometimes from bonds to go into what they call the precious metals. The global demand is huge. China is purchasing silver. They're on a tear purchasing silver. And they're not just doing it for investment. In fact, they're really not doing it for investment. They're doing it because of the solar panels, because of computer systems, because of AI. AI is using silver. And so that's another thing that's making the price of it go up. Industrial demand, that's another reason, which it's connected to the artificial intelligence services and the buildings that they're building and the AI centers. And another reason is global conflicts. And so what is happening now is this, that there are people who maybe are business people. Some of them own restaurants or hotels or businesses that are taking their cash, and instead of keeping cash in the bank, they're going and purchasing, even though the prices are very high right now, they're purchasing some silver and some gold as we call it a hedge, an economic hedge against what is going to happen. Now, the question that a lot of people have, because they know I deal with prophecy and the time of the end and things as they are occurring, how they relate to where it's going in the future, people have asked me, is there going to be what's called a fiat currency collapse? Now, fiat currency is paper money, and every nation has its own paper money. You have the yen, you have the dollar, you have the shekel in Israel, and paper money is used around the world. Now, that's about to change because the nations of the world are going to cryptocurrency, or more so to what's called digital wallets and apps on the phone, where you don't have to have fiat currency at all, but it goes directly into an account and it's taken directly out of your bank. It's really a series of numbers. In fact, that's what the computer code is anyways, is ones and zeros. So we know it's going to eventually come to that. Now, Here's the point that I want to make. There is not enough gold, and neither is there enough silver in circulation for there to be some kind of a fiat currency collapse and everyone go to gold and silver. First of all, people could not afford the prices of gold and silver. So to say that there's going to be this fiat collapse and everybody's going to go to gold and silver, that is absolutely incorrect. It can't happen because the banks only have a certain amount. The nations and world leaders have only certain amounts. Individuals only have certain amounts of the precious metals, and there's not enough to go around. There really is not enough to go around. It's amazing if you look at the statistics on this. So the next question that we're asked is, okay, fiat currency will continue to exist for a period of time until the digital wallets and the apps and they're already here, by the way, till it transitions into that. We understand that. So will the prices continue to go up? Now, there are people on the internet that are knowledgeable in this subject, much more knowledgeable than I am, because I do this on the side for fun. Have done it for 40 or 50 years. And since I was a kid, as I said earlier, collected coins, etc., things of that nature. But no one knows what is going to happen. Now, if there is a major disaster that takes place, it usually goes up. If there is economic disaster in nations, times of war, the precious metals usually goes up. So I'm not going to sit here and make a prediction. Some said silver will be at $80 to $100 an ounce because it's needed and because of the actual tangible shortages. That is possible. I believe that's possible. Gold could go to $5,000 to $10,000 an ounce. And of course, there's a lot of negative repercussions if it should go that high. But I would suggest to you that the main purpose that I see in my research and study, and I do this on the side, I don't take a lot of time. I mostly focus on ministry-related subjects, but this is something I've had a lot of questions about from our dear friends, so that's why I'm sharing this with you, and I hope you watch it till the entire end. But one of the things that I would tell you is most people who invest a little bit of maybe their savings, retirement, or whatever you want to call it, that they have, a little bit of extra money, into some type of coinage of silver or the small gold coins, a tenth of an ounce goes for about $465 now, is because of what's called bartering. And if you did not see my YouTube video that talks about it's getting time to barter, you will understand that the gold and the silver has an intrinsic value, and that value normally in very disastrous times remains strong. And so people would use the coins as a form of currency, and that way people would begin to barter with those. Now again, not everybody has these. Only a small percentage of those in America or even parts of the world have any type of coinage. Now the other thing I want to share with you, it's very important, I want you to hear me because I'm trying to help you with this, is there are, and I'm going to take this ring off for a minute, and I want to give you an idea, but I want to give you a warning. There's what's called scrap metal, scrap silver, which can be sterling silver that people have, that can be taken to a proper dealer, someone who's honest, by the way. Find someone who's trustworthy and honest, who doesn't rip you off. And what they do, they purchase it and they melt it down. They do the same thing with called scrap gold. Now, what is scrap gold? Let's say you have an old ring. Now, this is a wedding band of mine, so this is not going into it. It's scrap gold. But the gold, I don't know how much the value of the gold is on there, but if gold is $4,200 an ounce, and you have so many grams of gold in there, you could probably get maybe $1,200, $15, I'm estimating here, from the amount of gold, because this is 14 karat, not 18, not 24, which is more valuable. And let me go conservative, maybe $600 to $800. And I'm only estimating here because I don't know for sure. It'd have to be weighed. It'd have to be found out to be authentic. But many people will go to a place and they'll turn their scrap jewelry in, a big pile of it. And the guy he'll weigh it, and then as he weighs it, he doesn't want to weigh the stones, but he'll take the stones out. If you're really going to sell it, it'll go by the gold value. But a lot of times, now pay attention, they don't give you the stones back. They just make it a part of the deal. So they're double dipping. They're getting the money for the gold value, but they're getting the money for the stone. Now that's not a artificial diamond. That's a real diamond. And so the real diamond has value to it. So when you're taking your scrap into a place, please understand, please go to an honest place. Do your research at first. Know what the value of scrap is, because you don't want to get ripped off. I feel so sorry for widow women that go into a shop. They don't know anything about what they're doing, and somebody gives them one guy took her husband's 18-karat Rolex watch from the 60s, and the guy said, well, the gold's worth $500. He lied to her, and a friend of mine in town gave her $8,000 for the watch because that's what it was. Imagine getting 500 versus 8,000. So what they try to do, and I hate to say it, is rip people off that don't have the knowledge. So if you're ever going to do scrap silver, which is sterling silver, and a lot of times you'll have, what do we call it? Knives, forks, and spoons that maybe were in your grandmother's set, but it's not real sterling silver. It's coated, which does not have the value of sterling, for example. But you can actually gather this together and come up with some really good prices, but know who you're dealing with. We have a man in town. I'll tell you who he is. He's he owned a jewelry store. His name is Don Hughes, and he's the man that is the master of knowing information on this type of thing. So my point is that maybe there's things that you don't put this back on. There's things that you might be able to do, not related to the coin itself, or the silver coin, or the silver dollar, or the 10th ounce gold, but you may have and again, be careful, because sometimes if it's an antique ring, the antique ring may be of more value than selling it for scrap. My point is, do your homework, know what you're doing before you step out like that. Now, in the final days, we know that the Bible says there'll come a time, and this is in the later part of the tribulation, when the gold and the silver is cankered. It won't matter at all, because what will matter in the tribulation will be food and water, of which there will be a great, tremendous shortage of. But I would say three things to you. Number one, your faith is very significant, because if you have faith, then you can pray yourself through anything that you go through. Secondly, I would say that your family, and taking care of your family, and being a very close-knit family, and everybody uniting together in their faith and in their walk with God is going to be very significant. Number three is not to allow yourself to hear all the news that's coming in, the negative news, and even the signs of the earthquakes and tsunamis and famines, and let your heart be so overwhelmed that you become one of those victims that Jesus talked about, of men's hearts failing them for fear of looking after those things which are coming to pass on the earth. So I would suggest to people to release yourself as much as possible from cares of life. And if there's things that you can sell now, and a lot of people wait till they die and then the family has an estate sale. Well, you can actually have your sale early. And I know there's tax issues that relate to that and so on, but do your research and do your study. And I know that Pam and I have discussed of things that we have, very nice things. We've enjoyed them, but it's time to sell them. So we're selling a lot of things. I'm selling sports cards I've had for years, things of that nature, because as we mature in age and we mature in time, we can use those things in a better way than just having something sit around the house. And I felt like I wanted to encourage you and share that information with you. And I am knowledgeable in this sense that this is something I've kept up with for many years, ever since my brother and I have done it together since we were just kids. So if you've learned something right now, go and click that thumbs up. That thumbs up one time, just hit it one time. It helps the algorithm. And I need hundreds of you to subscribe to our channel. 40% of the people who watch our YouTube channel consistently are not subscribed. What does that do? That helps us in our relationship with those at YouTube, at the headquarters. And it also helps more people to be able to see what we're doing, the more people that we have subscribed. It doesn't cost a penny. You don't get a bill. There's no charges at all. It's just something that helps our channel. Now, always remember, when you watch YouTube, please watch it to the end, because we have always presented to you and will present to you something special at the end that you might be interested in. Thank you for your time. God bless you.
Perry Stone is now making available his new landmark book, Prophetic Alert. Stunning new insights reveal what is coming soon, which explores and explains numerous, often unknown and untaught prophetic triggers that will lead to the rapture and the future Great Tribulation. Here are some of the 20 chapters. Ezekiel's War and the Rapture Link. The confusion over who is Gog of Magog. God versus Gog. big hooks and little jaws. How can the Antichrist overpower a militarily armed Israel? Iran, land of the assassins and the gate of the gods. The spirit of Cain in the land of the east. Satan's main principality ruling in Middle East nations. The coming angelic cosmic wrestling match. Why do many Muslims dislike the Jews and Israel? The prophetic vision of the serpent in Gaza. When the abyss releases the destroying angel. Kings of the East and 1.5 billion Hindus in prophecy. When a dead head rises again. God's 4 weapons of destruction that are coming. Does the Bible hint at a nuclear war? You will learn great prophetic insight from these chapters and more. When you order the Prophetic Alert book with your gift of $25 or more, Perry will also select and include in this offer a mystery CD, a surprise audio message on CD. To order, visit perrystone.org or call toll-free 1-888-21-BREAD. That's 1-888-212-7323 or write to Perry Stone, P.O. Box 3595, Cleveland, Tennessee 37320. When writing, include your payment and offer number AB151. This is a very timely and important prophetic read for every Christian and all who love Bible prophecy. Your purchase is what helps keep Manifest on the air worldwide. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Whether audio or video, it's a timely, impactful word, ready whenever you are.